Good afternoon, YouTube viewers and subscribers. What I have on the table today is a customer engine. A customer of mine, Tim, had sent me his OS FS-91 Surpass 2 engine because this is the second one he's had, and the first one he had was running perfectly inverted in a biplane or some airplane, and so he loved the engine so much he bought a second one. And he mounted this one horizontally, and he's had all kinds of issues trying to get it to tune and be run consistently and that sort of thing. So when he told me about this, I was like, okay, well, just send me the engine, I'll check it out, you know, and try and run it. I'm not going to disassemble it or anything because I don't, you know, doesn't sound like there's an issue, may just be a tuning thing. But when I opened the box just now and saw this engine, I'm like, holy crap, this engine looks brand spanking new. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is an incredible engine. This will be the first time I've ever had a Series 2 Surpass engine, and right away I see that it's one of these ones where they're recirculating the oil from the crankcase into the intake, and I've never liked that on the Magnum engines that I've had. To me, it always seemed like it was those engines, the Magnums I had that did this, didn't run very well. So what I'm gonna do here with this is, I mean, like I said, this engine just looks spectacular. And Tim's concerns were, he said that every time he took this to the field, mounted horizontally, mind you, he said he'd have to retweak the high-speed needle every time, and then it would just not run properly. I'm trying to remember what I just read from his email. Not run properly, but then he said after getting home, it would just, a bunch of oil would just be pouring out of the carb. You know, fuel residue, or, you know, oil residue. So the claim is erratic or uneven running, difficulty tuning, that type of thing. So, and he's got this exact same engine in another airplane, but it's mounted inverted, and he says he's never had an issue with it. So that's why I was expecting to see an engine that had some carbon stains on it and was maybe dinged up a little bit, but not this. I mean, this looks like a brand new engine. So this kind of changes what my plans were. So what I did off camera, the first thing I did was I took a piece of fuel tubing and stuck it on here to check out the carb settings. Now, the high-speed needle was closed completely, no big deal. What I really wanted to do is let's see how much I opened it. Probably about 2.5 turns is what I opened it. So there's 1, 2.5. Normally what I do, and I was blowing through it with the throttle barrel open, making sure everything was great. So then, since this is a newer style carb, this is a carb like is on my 95V or V95 and the 62V engines. It doesn't have a throttle stop, so I was like, okay, well, crap, let me try and hold it to what it looks to me like a throttle or idle position. I was blowing through the hose here to see what the idle setting was like, and it seemed like it was completely closed. So the only things I've done to this engine thus far was the high-speed needle was totally closed. I opened it and I started doing my check here for the low-speed needle, and to me it just didn't seem like it was open enough. I wasn't getting any airflow through it at all. So what I did was I opened this up about another 2 turns, and the screw, I don't know if my camera's gonna like going in that far anyway, but the screw is about, let's see, about 1 millimeter recess from the housing. Now, it was much deeper than that before, because like I said, I opened it up about 2 turns and while holding this and was blowing through there to get about what I thought felt like the best idle starting point, or at least a place where it would, you know, maintain operation. But I mean, this engine looks so pristine that I don't really know. The only other thing I can do is take the valve cover off and check the valve lash. I mean, the thing has got such good compression. Oh, it's very difficult to even turn over by hand. So that alone tells me that the valve lash should be set pretty good, and maybe even the timing's right. Because I was telling Tim in email, I was like, well, maybe the timing's not right. But after looking at this engine and how pristine it is, I can't imagine that the timing wouldn't be right. So here's my plan of action. I'm going to remove the rocker cover, check the valve lash. If the valve lash is good, I've already reset the idle screw. I'm going to run this on my stand upright first. So I'm going to get it running on the stand, upright, idle, transition. Granted, it doesn't have a throttle stop, so my idle is going to have to be set by hand here. See if I can get it to idle, transition, run properly. Maybe a couple of tanks, not a couple of tanks, a couple of engine runs, let it run at one time, then let it cool, then run it again, and make sure it's consistent. Because I need to check for consistency, because that's one of the things that Tim was saying was it was just inconsistent. And then now, since I've got a side mount stand, side mount attachment to my stand, I'll mount it sideways, and I'll do the same thing, and I'll see if I can experience some of the things that Tim was seeing with it being erratic or whatever. But maybe I fixed the issue right here by just adjusting the low speed needle. I don't know. To me it seemed like it was closed off completely, but we'll only know for sure by running it and checking it out. So Tim, that's what I'm going to do with your engine. I'm going to turn the camera off, check the valve lash, and go put it on the stand. It's getting dark now, so I'm probably not going to get a chance to run it today, maybe not till this weekend, but that's what the plan is going to be. And it looks like there was supposed to be a locking nut here, which I don't see. And I don't know if I've got one here or not. Either way, no, just a header. Either way, we should be alright. Maybe I've got another nut I can jam in there to keep that thing from wanting to pop loose. So that's the plan with this beautiful FS-91 Surpass Series 2 or Surpass 2 engine. That's what we're going to do with this thing.